G'day, Gary from CJ Boats. I've called in today to talk all things Nomads and Creek Masters with James Cullen from Stones Corner Marine. Come on in and we'll have a chat. So James, you've been selling CJs and selling boats for 26 plus years now. And every time I talk to you, you've got this passion about little boats and getting people on the water. Give us a look and talk to us about these Nomads here.
Yeah, Fitz, look, I'm a small boat user myself. I love the tight waters, the creeks, the estuaries, the sheltered parts of the bay. And I am very passionate about small boats. And CJ's the brand that I did my apprenticeship with and through selling, and then I've now gone on for a couple of decades selling them. And what really excites me about the CJ product is the personalisation or customisation that the factory allow the end user to have, to make sure they get the boat that's going to suit their application.
That's great, James. So, look, you've got a few here. Can you give us a quick rundown on what you've got?
Absolutely, Fitz. Look, I'll start with the 350 Nomad high side. Now, the Nomads now have been around since the early 2000s, and they're a really good boat for mixed use. They're very stable, but they've also got a nice little V entry to give you a nice ride. So, for mine, the balance of ride and stability is right up there in the Nomad range. And that Nomad range starts in the more common size at 350, and as you see, goes over into the 370. The good thing about the CJ Nomad range, Fitz, is that they're available in both short and long shaft transoms. So if you already own an outboard and you're looking just to update your hull, we can accommodate you with a CJ product in short or long shaft.
And I see, like a long time ago, I've been with CJ for coming up to 10 years. I know the most popular years ago was just your standard side, but now the high sides seem to get more popular. Why is that one, James?
Oh, look, Fitz, what we found is with more people expecting to take their boats into areas a little bit further than, I suppose, originally thought by people, i.e. into the north of Queensland or northern parts of Australia. People were a bit worried about, how much of them was high in the boat, or how high or low the sides were for, I have people say to me all the time, I like the high side because it keeps the crocodiles out. That's a novelty. If it makes you feel more confident, I'll go with it. But the most important thing about the high sides, I'll just show you here, Fitz. The most important thing with the high sides is by getting the increased 75 mil here, when you've got an adult or a child seated on this seat, their hips are below the sides of the gunnel. Now, that's really important from a stability side with the boat, but also getting the person's center of gravity low, and that provides a lot of confidence. So mums and dads and elderly people, most importantly, feel very safe in the Nomad due to the depth of sides, in particular the depth of sides above seat height.
Well, James, while we're here, can you point out some of the features of the CJ Nomads?
Yeah, certainly, Fitz. Look, the CJ Nomad and the name Nomad was given to this range based on the idea that this was the boat that was going to be designed for people travelling. So whether that be on the back of utes, racks on top of vehicles, on top of camper trailers, that Nomad name was given for that. Now, one of the most important things for people travelling on boats upside down is that the gunnel and the foredeck is all flat. So when you have a look at the CJ Nomad range, you'll notice that there is nothing protruding from the gunwales up. The foredecks are flat. The handles face forward out the front. So the nice flat design was aimed at easy launching, easy retrieval onto said car topping apparatus or the racks on the ute or camper trailer. Now, look, while I'm here, the other things with Nomads was all about weight. We can't make these boats too heavy. There's roof load limits to factor in. So the Nomads were purposely designed as a very basic boat, Fitz. So 2 thwart seats, big volume, all foam flotation filled. So they're all flotation filled, no floors, etc. But there is a basic anchor shelf at the front of the boat just for your anchor chain and rope stowage.
Yeah, I'll show that in the cutaway.
Yeah, no problems. Now, another thing that's really good on the Nomad, Fitz, is sort of the underside of the boat. So I'm going to ask you to come around here, and I'm going to highlight a couple of things. So other things that help with the day on the water are these full-length spray chines. So we've got full-length spray chines from bow to stern. that's just helped deflect the spray down. Now, are they the perfect dry boat? Well, I challenge anyone to find me a boat that you're perfectly dry in, but boats that have extruded spray chines are certainly dry fits. Another little feature, if we have a look under here, you'll see at the bottom of the boat, and you may have to go to a cutaway for that, but under there is an external keel. Now that external keel allows this boat to turn if it's on like it's on rails. So I can assure you that anyone who's owned a CJ or been out in one, when you're driving down that creek and you make that turn, it's a real positive feel as if you're on rails. And that's all because of that external keel on the bottom of that boat there, Fitz.
Now, James, you mentioned the ability to customise. And I know one of the pillars of CJ, Cold Glass always said that we would, CJ do a lot of customised work, and it's about getting the right boat for the right person. Do you do much of that stuff through here? And well, obviously you do. Well, I can see a couple of examples in the background, but how important is that for you here in a retail environment?
Yeah, look, Fitz, the ability to personalise or customise a boat is actually a big factor when people are considering boats. There's I suppose, three types of buyers out there. There's the buyer who wants the cheapest standard boat and wants it now, and we respect that. We carry standard boats in stock. We also then have buyers that have had boats or previous boats before. They've worked out the shortcomings of some of those boats or areas they'd like to improve on, and they come in and open a conversation with us about personalisation or customisation, and that can be sometimes for locational purposes, applicational purposes, or making it easier or more convenient on the owner to do a said task. So look, I've got a couple of boats here, Fitz, I'd love to show you over. And they're all levels of different personalisation and customisation. Some of them quite basic, some a bit trickier, but if you don't mind, I'll give you a look at a couple.
Let's go.
All right. So here we've got the 370 Nomad high side. So it's the same boat as we just saw earlier. However, what you'll notice is this boat's been factory fitted with wide side decks, and it's been fitted with 4 flush mount rod holders. So we had an owner here who was looking for strength in the upper boat, so wanted extra strength. They wanted the ability to put rod holders into the sides of their boat. It provides that. It also gives you the ability to run wiring and hide wiring underneath. So if you were to mount a sounder or lighting or something similar, or want to clip up your paddles and get them up off the floor out the way, wide side decks give you that opportunity. So as I said, still flat foredeck, still the anchor shelf, still the 2 bench seats, but simply 2 options, wide side decks and 4 flush mount rod holders. I'll give you a look at another one here, Fitz, if you don't mind. So again, now this is the Creek Master. So the Creek Master model is part of the Nomad family. So it's still the Nomad hull. So this is a 370 Nomad high-sided hull with Creek Master. Now the name change to Creek Master simply typifies the standard features are a specification level higher than Nomad. Okay, so if you were to go onto the website, CJ website, have a look at Nomad, have a look at Creek Master, you'll be able to look at those differences. However, this Creek Master's got a few extras that I want to show you, Fitz. I'll start at the transom. For this gentleman, or this owner, it was really important to have access in and out of sandbanks, and he's opted for a factory rear step and rail, and that's simply been positioned on the back. Up in the boat, if we come up here and have a look inside the boat, you'll see that the Creek Master is standard with rear tank racks, so that's a standard feature. All right, the middle floor, again, I'm skipping over features, but the middle floor, again, is standard on the Creek Master model, and so is the part cast platform. And that part cast platform has storage under and a little tank rack or forward battery rack for an electric motor position. Right, talking about that electric motor position, this is it here. So CJ in 2005 built this design, and I can tell you, I know that because my boat was the first boat to have this built. I said to Colin Troy at the time, I want an electric motor in front of a custom Nomad I'm going to get you to build, but I want the electric motor right over. I don't want any external plates. And this was the design that come up. So it's now 20 years old, this design. Still serves the Nomads and Creek Masters and other CJ models very well. However, I'll show you something else in this boat that's quite cool. This boat here, the gentleman wanted access, but he also wanted some comfort. So what the factory has done here, and it might be hard to see, but there's some welded in plates that have been mounted to the thwart seat. So thwart seat standard, the 4mm plates put on top of that has allowed us to fit an Ocean South Titan swivel and an Ocean South Sirocco seat. That now allows for a seat that swivels. It's got a nice high backrest and some good comfort. So having that ability from the factory to put that reinforced seat top on has given us at a dealer level the ability to fit the accessories of the seat and swivel. Down the back, slightly different. He wanted a seat that was able to be moved across. So you can see that this seat is currently deliberately positioned on this side of the boat to show you that it's movable, but it's on a folded plate that enables you to pick it up and move it over. So for adjustment on the tiller, if you want to be a bit closer, you can position it in, a bit further away, position it out. It still has the swivel, and if you did want to at some stage pin it off, we could either tack weld it up or secure it with rivets to the seat. Okay, but there you go. That's a boat with access, the Creek Masta features, and a couple of seats fits. I've got a couple more boats I want to show you, but so stay tuned. All right, Fitz. The other thing we're getting asked for a lot these days is, and this sometimes comes from a family member, the wife, the girlfriend, or the kids, is, hey, I want a boat that doesn't just look like a tinny. You know, granddad had a tinny, dad had a tinny. I don't want a tinny. I want it dressed up a bit. So the good news for prospective buyers out there is that we can organise wraps. The wraps can be done at a factory level or a dealer level. Now, some of the factory designs are only available to order with factory, and some of the colours are only available at a dealer level. But I just wanted to show you that by simply putting a vinyl wrap on a Nomad, it can change the whole perspective of the boat. So this here is simply a satin black, and run down here, you know, we still get, this is a locally made one, we still get the CJ logos and models there. We put our logo on the back there, and that simply just dresses this Nomad up from being a standard tinny looking Nomad to something that's quite sharp on the outside. Now, this is a Nomad, but I do want to show you something that's a little bit different on this Nomad, and explain how and why this could be important to you. Have a look inside this boat, Fitz. So this is a Nomad, and it's been factory fitted with a 3/4 floor, and it's been factory fitted with a part cast platform. Okay, now in this instance, there is no electric motor plate on the front. It is simply a cast platform with storage and a floor. So not everybody who's in the market is necessarily wanting a Creek Masta. They're not necessarily wanting an electric motor, and it may be important to them to get a certain people capacity on a particular hull. So in this instance, this is a 390 Nomad high side, and it simply had the flooring fitted from factory. Puts a nice touch to stability and comfort underfoot without the extra weight of some of the Creek Masta features.
So James, in my time at CJ, I've seen plenty of different modifications and customizations, but this one here in a 350 Nomad, this one's up there with something that's been a bit different. So tell us about what's going on with this boat.
Yeah, well, Fitz, as you said, I'm pretty passionate about small boating, and I like listening to my customers, and I like listening to their needs and their applications. This is a little Nomad in a seated height basic console to give a forward steer, so you're not having to steer that outboard with your arm and your shoulder. Look, I'm a believer that you're never too old to go boating. Your boat might need to change design, and your locations that you wish to chase fish certainly change. But, you know, I look at boats like this and customers who put these together and really listen to what they need. And in this instance, I had a customer who wanted to spend some quality hours on the water, didn't want to steer with his arm, so wanted forward control, wanted the comfort of a seat. He's a single boat user, so he goes boating by himself. And we were able to put this package together. It's, you know, powered with a 9.9. It's got a seat. It's left the thwart seats in. We've added a middle floor, added some rails just to help him get around. It's got a console, Yamaha control box, and some little rails at the front. It is equipped with navigation lights for his early morning starts. And that's all something that between CJ Boats and Stones Corner Marine, we've been able to customise to meet this gentleman's application. And, you know, it excites me every time I see something a little bit different go out there, Fitz. And you know, credit to the factory for allowing us this opportunity and getting people what they want.
So JC, you and anyone else that knows me knows that I'm into luring and a fair bit of fly fishing. Not so much fly these days, but mate, if I was in the market for a new little boat, what direction would you be telling me to go if I come to you, clean slate? I don't know I know what I want to do, but I don't know what I need to get. What direction would you be telling me to go?
Yeah, well, look, Fitz, my experience with lure fishing would indicate that most lure fishermen are going to want to stand. They're going to want to move around the boat in most instances. So they're looking for stability underfoot. The model, as soon as I hear lure fisherman or a young bloke knowing that he's talking about his plastics fishing or whatever it may be, the first model that's coming to my mind is the Creek Master range. 370 is probably our most popular in the Creek Master range, followed by the 390, 398 sort of series. But the reason I'm taking you to Creek Master is I know that it's factory equipped with an electric motor mount on the front. I know it's factory fit with that part cast platform that we may have shown you in an earlier boat. It's got the 3/4 floor in the middle of the boat. So I just know from a base foundation or point to show you a boat, I think the Creek Master ticks a lot of boxes and gets you into lure fishing in a boating platform at an affordable price. And look, go mad, chuck wide side X, chuck wraps, chuck whatever else you want in. We can reach out to the factory, but keep in mind all personalizations and customizations we do at the factory all still have to meet Australian guidelines. And Troy up there is often saying, no, James, or compromise a little bit, James, go work with me here because we can only push it to this far. But the Creek Master, if you want one off the shelf ready for lure fishing, I'm probably taking you a Creek Master. I think they're a really great boat, very popular amongst the young and the old Fitz.
So that's a snapshot of the CJ Nomads and the Creek Masters. Look, if you want something customised, what you need to do is go to your nearest CJ dealer, maybe do a drawing, go to them guys with your ideas, and not everything's going to be possible all the time, but they'll certainly talk to R&D at CJ, and if we can do it, we certainly will.